go. And now we secure it into the holder. There we go. All right. Now, let's get everything framed properly like normal. And we can have ourselves a merry little Christmas together, reading vampire stories. We'll begin our reading promptly at 7. It is 6:38 right now, so if you're watching this on a recording later, 22 minutes ahead is where you want to skip if you want to get to the story. We're going to be reading Varney the Vampire. This is a story from the 1840s, 50 years before Dracula was written. This story definitely inspired Bram Stoker on Dracula and has been extremely delightful and enjoyable. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Thank you for the heart me's. Thank you for all the gifts. It's a great Christmas, and I hope your Christmas is full of giving and love and kindness and all the things that makes our lives amazing. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. You've embraced your inner vampire. Good for you. See my Christmas tree. No, my Christmas tree is currently on display in my Vampire Den Airbnb, and somebody is there enjoying it right now. So that means no, I guess you cannot see my Christmas tree right now. But good question, and a fair question. Let me see, how's the framing? Sorry, I'm still adjusting all the cameras. If you just joined me, don't worry, this won't be the whole live. This is just getting everything set up and starting. We have more than one camera going for more than one stream. Hola! What did I get my wife for Christmas? I don't know if I want to ruin the surprise yet. She might hear. She's very nearby. Thoughts on door-to-door sales for a 20-year-old? I was doing, well, not door-to-door, but I had meeting, like, appointment set sales that were in-home when I was 20 years old, and I think it was one of the best things that I could do because I had to learn how to communicate with people, and that became the most valuable skill I developed early on. And I guess even to this day, right now, while talking with you, I'm still using the skills that I gained from that job. So I think it's a fine thing for people to be doing. A carnivore is something that is, in this case, a human that's a carnivore doesn't eat any plants. I don't eat any plants. Only meat and animal products. No plants. That includes bread and other things. What movies am I in? I'm not in any movies yet. I'll be in a movie in April. I'm being a part of a movie that will be released in on Hulu around Halloween. I've also got another project I can't talk about, and that's not exactly a movie, but it's really going to be fun. Are your teeth real? They seem to be. Yes, I did an update video to that, Irish. If you look maybe 2 videos, 3 videos back, you should see the update to that. Am I playing Shane? I don't want to announce exactly the details of what I'm playing. Part of it, I will release more details as I can, but it's important to keep a certain element of mystery and fun. One of the things I dislike about movies anymore, and one of the reasons why I don't go to see very many movies, is because nowadays the trailers for movies tend to spoil way too much. Meaning that you already know what's going to happen in the movie. You already know all the best parts. Like, what's the point of going to see a movie when you've already seen all the best parts in the trailers? So I've developed the habit of never going to, or never watching trailers. And my wife will pick out a movie for me, and I will go to the theater, and sometimes I manage to not even see the name of the movie. She'll buy the tickets, and I will go in and sit down in the theater and not even know what's about to be played. And that is my favorite way to see a movie, with zero expectations. It's amazing. Excuse me. Yeah, if you watch old trailers for movies, they would mostly be this actor's in it, this actress is in it, it's going to be a zany comedy, or it's going to be a thrilling adventure, or whatever, and they'd leave you with that, and that would be about all they would set up for it. So you'd have some idea of the setting, maybe some idea of the time period, and some idea of the actors and what genre, and that was about all they had to do. Can I send you an autograph? I don't know. I've had somebody else ask for one recently, and I'm trying to work on actually doing it, but it's one of those things where I'm not really equipped. Like, I don't just have photos sitting around, and I don't know. It's, I guess, something I'll have to figure out at some point. There's Les. Hey, buddy. Everybody's asking about a movie that I'm going to be in for some reason, dude. What can I say? Can I say anything, Les? If you want to know about things, he's the guy. He's the guy to ask. I haven't told him anything, except it's going to be released on Hulu. Feel free. Okay. Well, it's a slashery movie, so I love slasher movies. I think they're fun. One of my favorite things around Halloween. My wife is going to be able to be in this movie as well, so she's going to have a part in it. And let's see. I'm definitely not the main character, no, but it will be fun. It will be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to film some of it in Ohio, I believe. I'm not sure. Some of it may be filmed locally here in Arkansas. Some of those details will work out when it gets closer. A decent-sized role, exactly. The name of the movie right now is Walker. Potentially subject to change. I'm not sure how carved in stone that is. I don't know what part of Ohio. And if you guys aren't following Les, I recommend following Les very much. And remember, as you tap, tap, tap and come in and touch the screen, you make little hearts appear. Every 50,000, I will perform some magic for you. So make sure to tap, tap, tap that screen, and I will amaze and inspire you with feats of magic. Less is more. How can I purchase a fan autograph? I don't know. I feel weird selling a fan autograph just because, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a thing that people do. I haven't really thought about that. I have not been in a movie before. Hey Kurt, Merry Christmas. I hope you managed to figure things out. I saw some message from you, but I was covered in mortar and working, and I don't think I ever got back to you. I meant to, but I just never did. I get a lot of messages every day. What martial arts training have I had? So, Tang Soo Do, Jiu Jitsu, Sambo, ITF, TKD. So those are my martial arts, primarily. I've done some others. You are definitely not the worst ever. I can promise you that those kinds of things are minor and of very little importance in the grand scheme of things. The efforts to keep everybody together and to keep a roof over people's heads, those things are more significant, Kurt. We did no-gi, so we didn't belt, really, but I did 10 years of training in jiu-jitsu. Probably 12 years, really. 12 years-ish. No, I was never a mortician. Favorite horror movie of all time? John Carpenter's The Thing. I think that one is amazing. I do not consider myself a jiu-jitsu level black belt. So, what submission did you see yourself going for every time? If I started on my feet, crucifix. So I have a ITF Taekwondo kind of fighting stance, which puts a lot of weight on my back foot, and my front leg is really light and easy to pick up. So when people shoot in for that single leg takedown, it's very easy to go into a crucifix if you understand how to do that. So rather than sprawling, I would try to counter that way. And that worked out really well. I could pull it off significant percentage of the time. Nothing's ever for sure thing, but not insignificant. Red is my color. That's what you guys say about every color I wear. Welcome in everybody on the tube as well. Thank you for joining me. What am I getting for Christmas? I already got things for Christmas. I went to go to Turkey to have my operation and all of those things, and it's worked out amazing. I have not seen that movie, Tyler. I have not gotten the account back. On December 26th is when the legal department of Zuckerberg's place is going to receive the registered letter that we sent to basically more or less threaten them. Hello, Croatia. Welcome in. So I did a video a couple weeks ago about my hair transplant operation I had done in Turkey. So, right now I've been wearing a hat, but went to Turkey because I had some male pattern baldness back here in a spot that had been getting bigger for, 10 years, and I finally decided to get it taken care of. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really neat experience. It was very painful on the operation part, but Turkey was amazing. The people were amazing. I hope you have many blessings and great times with family and friends, Les, and I look forward to talking to you about your other projects soon as well. So we're gonna work some stuff out. It's gonna be cool. Hello, Iceland. Watch out for the skur liquor. Isn't that a Christmas tradition, right? Is the skur liquor? Has my hair always been long? No, much like you guys, my hair grows. It doesn't just stay the same length. It grows, and it started off shorter and it grew out longer. And there have been times when it's been cut, and there have been times when it's been longer throughout my life. I know that's strange. Hello, Canada. Welcome in. You like my big D20? My wife picked that out.
You can find it in my TikTok shop.
The Christmas flu. I didn't know there was a Christmas flu going around. You finally grew it out 5 years ago. Congratulations. It's so savage and so free, isn't it? I think mobile homes might be a better investment than they used to be because of the change to the FHA law requirements that allow you to now use FHA for mobile homes, which you couldn't do before. Should you rush yourself into a house or figure everything out first? Go to my TikTok showcase, look for the board game Cash Flow. It's about $80. Buy it, play it until you understand how to win the game. Buy houses the same way you buy them in the board game, and you'll be fine. Don't rush into it, but also you're not going to understand everything. There's going to be surprises along the way, but if you buy it the way that that game teaches, you will make money even if you make mistakes along the way. And mistakes when you're still making money are much better mistakes than mistakes where you're losing money. Yes, Kelly's correct. Every 50,000 likes, there will be magic. So I have a deck of cards right here. I love the carnivore diet. I've been carnivore for 2.5 years, and I highly recommend it. It's been life-changing for me. You can send me the details, Liddy, or Za, or I don't even know how to begin to say your name. Send me the details. I'll take a look at it. I'm not specifically interested in the middle of Texas, but I'm not uninterested anywhere if the numbers make sense. Cash Flow. You can find it on my TikTok showcase. So the simplest way is to go to my TikTok showcase and you can buy it there. And it's a great New Year's resolution. Hey, Rudy. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Scotland. Let's see. It's got to be getting close to midnight there, huh? It's life-changing in good ways. I made 10 times what I'd made in the previous 20 years of life, the 1 year following having played that game. That game changed my entire life. I would recommend carnivore much more than low calorie. Low calorie hurt my wife's thyroid, and it wasn't exactly low calorie, but intermittent fasting. So that's what we did.
We did 500-calorie days.
Yeah, we did some very low calorie days with our intermittent fasting. Merry Christmas, Cody. Is it snowing? It's almost 80 degrees today. It's definitely not snowing. I don't know a book on the carnivore diet as much as I recommend following Ken Berry, Kenberry. He's a doctor here on TikTok and on the tube. You can find him, and he will be very educational. We are 7 minutes from beginning our story. So 7 minutes from now, we will begin with Varney the vampire. This story was written in the 1840s, 50 years before Dracula was written. It is an incredible vampire tale about a vampire pursuing a real estate venture and being blocked because people discriminated against him because he was a vampire. Odd question, but how can you ensure you enjoy dollars when it's tied up in mortgages and debt? Very interesting question, okay? Very good question. I'm not a very good saver, okay? Some of you guys save better than others. I'm not a good saver. If I had $5,000 in my bank account before I started real estate investing, I would have to go spend the money on something. It was just my nature. I just did. And some of you guys can probably relate, and you can call me, I'm sure you can call me whatever, but it's just a thing about myself. I also was self-employed. I owned my own job, so I had to work all the time. If I quit working, I didn't have any money. I didn't have a retirement plan. I didn't have, I'm not counting on Social Security to be there when I retire someday. We just got to a point where we realized there was nothing for us if something bad happened, and that wasn't a good place to be. So learning to invest in real estate allows me to buy things and spend my money and build equity in my houses. The equity is savings for my future, and as my tenants pay the rent, my equity increases over time, and it's to the point where just on my regular loan payments every single year, I'm paying over $40,000 in principal, meaning that's like saving $40,000. That's like $40,000 in equity in the bank. Now I have to take out loans to be able to use it, but the cool thing about taking out loans to use that money is you don't pay taxes on loans. So where do you get money tax-free in the United States from? Somebody can fill me in if you want to, but that's one of the only places I know where I can go get $75,000 or $100,000 out of the bank as equity on a property and not pay taxes on that money. Personal injury. Okay, there's another one. I didn't know that. Are you sure about that? I'm not sure about that. I would imagine that you're probably right, Native. Yeah. Yes, I absolutely would invest in another country if it made sense. I have a small amount of life insurance that will cover, some of the initial things, but all the homes are still bought by my entities and all those things, and those things will continue to make money without me. Got an itchy toe. What am I doing for Christmas? I'm about to read you guys a classic vampire story from the 1840s. Tomorrow I'm going to work. I'm a landlord, so that means I work every day. Most people think it means I goof off and don't do anything ever. But I'm going to go work tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. Am I designated a real estate professional? Yes, because I spend more than 50% of my time working in real estate. You don't have to have a real estate license to be a real estate professional. And I could get a real estate license, but I'm purposefully avoiding that. I don't think it helps me, and I think it exposes me to more liability. So far, my hair is doing very well, Lizzie. Won't I spend time with my family? No, I'll be working tomorrow. My family will be around. Some of my closest family members will be helping me work, but that's what we do on Christmas. I've taken one Christmas off of the last 7. I can tell you, as a landlord, there are times when I am very jealous of my tenants because they get to go on a lot more vacations than I do. They get a lot more time off. They get to post pictures and things of spending time with their families more so than I do. I work a lot. I sacrifice a lot to be where I am. And at some point, I will have achieved enough that I don't have to work so much anymore. And my projects and everything that I've done now will be paying for my future. And then everybody will call me lazy. People call me lazy already, but everybody will say, get a real job. You don't work. And it's like right now, I am sacrificing. I'm in the building phases. And this is a normal thing that people go through. Well, I'm glad I could help you, Sierra. We have a CPA as of this past year. Before that, I DIY'd my own books. Not recommended. Definitely get a CPA. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. Yes, it's looking like we're getting to the beginning of a good year. Lily, I'm not exactly sure how to say your name. Look at the lovely wife who just arrived.
Good evening.
Mm.
And I'm wearing all these beautiful red bracelets.
Yes.
Hello.
Isn't she fabulous? Mm. Everybody's going to send the Christmas presents now, huh? We'll begin reading in 1 minute. Well, you got here just in the nick of time, didn't you? Just in the Saint Nick of time.
May I have my book?
It's right beside you.
I almost sat on it.
Yes.
For those of you who are just joining us and haven't really been with our story before, and for those of you who may have missed last week, the wedding was thwarted. The young lovers have now been wed, and the mother of our dear and lovely young lady has thought that she might perhaps have a chance with the Admiral.
Yes, she heard the Admiral had a very large thing in his pocket, a wallet full of money, and she became very interested in that, and so...
But then, when she snuck in to awaken him and be like, hello, my darling, I'm here, he was like, what's going on? Why are you here? I'm not interested in this. Ah!
A man of good taste, I would say, because that lady is trouble. That lady is trouble. All right, during our reading, I will be replying to comments.
Oh, goodness, I was telling too much of the story.
Oh, were you jumping ahead?
I was.
Oh, darling. I was kind of thinking I hadn't heard that, but I was like, oh, we'll go with it. Maybe
she's sneaking in to wake him up.
Yeah, well, we'll find out what happens.
Oh, heavens.
So I'll be replying to comments via my wife's chat, so if you guys haven't followed, make sure to follow. I will say hello.
Well,
there we go.
You don't have any lines in this chapter.
Oh, really?
Not in this particular one.
Okay, but do I have lines tonight, I hope?
I do believe so.
Yay. I get to read all the parts for the vampire, so...
And you're going to read the parts for this lovely man called the Colonel.
The Colonel, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, fun.
The Colonel.
The Colonel. Like Colonel Sanders?
Yeah. I guess so, like Colonel Sanders, not the General.
Mm.
The General's chicken, it's butt kicking.
I love you so much.
I love you too. That was fun.
It is fun. That's a great movie. All right.
The last time that I had KFC, because it's not carnivore. The last time I had KFC, it wasn't very good, but it may have just been our local branch that wasn't performing to their standards. I don't know if many of you have known that the Colonel Sanders' great nephew is actually here on TikTok, and he plays video games. So you can find him somewhere here in TikTok land.
All right. Are you ready to begin?
I am ready to begin.
Here we go. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us.
And I do apologize for giving maybe a little bit too much away.
It'll be okay. Spoilers.
Spoilers. To say that Mrs. Williams was on the tiptoe of expectation is to say very little that can convey a good idea of what her real condition, nervously speaking, as she followed Jack Pringle up. Not the principal, but a back staircase of the inn, towards the room where the Admiral took his nap, which was his custom of the afternoons. The fact is that Jack had a great dread of Mrs. Williams being seen by any of the Bannerworth family, because they all knew her, and the nice little plot that he had got up for the purpose of holding out the Admiral to ridicule, while at the same time he enjoyed the immense satisfaction of having some revenge upon Mrs. Williams. Hence was it that, like many a great politician, He went up the back staircase instead of the front, in order to avoid unnecessary observation and remark. By good fortune, as well as good management, Jack met nobody, but succeeded in reaching the room door within which the Admiral was sleeping, in perfect safety. "Now, ma'am," said Jack, "don't you be backred. I'm going for'ard, 'cause as I tell you, the old man is unaliven by inches for you, and I don't see why you shouldn't have his $500,000 of money, as well as anybody else. Ah, and a good deal better, too, when one comes to consider all things." "Thank you, Mr. Pringle, thank you. I really don't know how to express my obligation to you, upon my word. You are so very kind and considerate in all you say."
"Well, ma'am, don't you mention it. Walk on in, and there you'll find the old baby. I shouldn't wonder but he's disturbing his old brains by dreaming of you right now."
Jack opened the door, and Mrs. Williams glided noiselessly into the apartment, where, seated sure enough in an easy-chair, with a silk handkerchief over his face, sat the Admiral, fast asleep, enjoying the comfortable siesta, which he never for one moment imagined would be disturbed in the manner that it was about to be.
I wonder what's going to happen, he
"Well,"
said, knowing.
"Well," said Mrs. Williams, "there he is, to be sure, just as Jack Pringle said, asleep, and no doubt dreaming of me. I must make sure of the old fool in one interview, or he may slip through my fingers, and that would not be at all pleasant, after counting upon him and taking so much trouble in the matter." But although she made up her mind that nothing should be wanting upon her part to make sure of him, yet she debated whether she ought to awaken him or not. Oh, there's a little footnote at the bottom of the page to say that £500,000 in the time of the writing of this story would be 60 million in 2020 currency.
$60 million. Yeah, that's not an insignificant sum, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I could handle $60 million right now.
Couldn't we all? So she's trying to decide whether or not she should wake him, for she well knew that many old people, especially men, were very irritable if they are awakened suddenly, and from what she had already seen of the Admiral, she could very well imagine that such might be the case with him. Now this was getting rather a quandary out of which Miss Williams did not exactly see her way, and yet the proposition that the Admiral was to be, and must be, awakened in some way, remained as firmly as ever fixed in her mind. And then, too, the idea, a very natural one under the circumstances, came across her that each minute was fraught with danger, and that, for all she knew, the yea or nay of the whole affair might depend upon the promptitude with which it was concluded. What if, she asked herself, some of the odious Bannerworth people were to come in and to find her there? Of course they would awaken the Admiral at once, and in consequence of their presence she would lose all opportunity of excising those little blandishments which she meant to bring to bear upon him. Now, this was positively alarming. The idea of all being lost prompted her, at all events, to attempt something. So Mrs. Williams thought that the mildest way of awakening the Admiral was by a loud sneeze, which she executed without producing the least effect, as might have been expected.
Achoo!
For the man, who had many a time slept soundly in the wildest fury of the elements, was not likely to awaken because somebody sneezed. Well, dear me, how sound he sleeps. Ahem! Ahem! Achoo! Ahem! Achoo! The Admiral was proof against all this, and Mrs. Williams might just as well have been spared herself the trouble of exciting such an amount of artificial sneezes. for the Admiral slept on, and it was quite clear that something much more sonorous, how funny, sonorous would be required for the purpose of awakening him.
We love some of the old words.
How vexatious, she thought. How very vexatious. But there's no help for it. Awakened he must be. But that's quite clear. If there means won't do it, why, foul must. Acting upon this resolve, Mrs. Williams hesitated no longer, but approaching the sleeping Admiral, dragged the handkerchief off his face, and its passage over his nose no doubt produced the tickling sensation that induced him to give that organ a very hard rub, indeed, and start wide awake with an exclamation that was much more forcible than elegant, and that, consequently, we need not transfer to our pages at all.
In other words, he used some foul language as he woke up.
Oh, Admiral, said Mrs. Williams, assuming a look that ought at once to have melted a heart of stone. Oh, Admiral, can you indeed forgive me?
The devil?
Said the Admiral. Can you indeed look over the fact that in my anxiety to see that face, I took before it the envious and yet fortunate handkerchief that covered it? It was my act, and upon my head fell all the censure, my dear, good, kind Admiral. The old man rubbed his eyes very hard with his knuckles as he said,
Well, I suppose I'm awake.
You are awake, my dear sir, you are. It is indeed no dream, let me assure you, that disturbs you, but a living reality. You are indeed awake, my dear sir.
Why? What do you mean? I began to think I'm awake. With a vengeance. But who are you? Hang me if I don't think you are old Mother Williams.
Oh, my dear, dear Admiral. You are so facetious, so very facetious. But can you for one moment fancy, my dear sir, that I am insensible to your merit? Can you fancy that I could look with other than indulgent eyes upon a belle?
Upon a what?
A belle, Admiral Belle, indeed, I may say with a slight but pardonable altercation of a word, an Admiral Belle. Oh, my dear sir, your pearl speaks to you. The Admiral was so amazed at this address, accompanied as it was by most languishing looks, that with his mouth wide open and his eyes preternaturally descended, he gazed upon Mrs. Williams without saying a word, from which she inferred that he was beginning to see that she was aware of his attachment to her, and was thinking of how he could best express his gratitude for her taking the initiative in the matter. Thus encouraged, then, she spoke again, saying, as she advanced close to him, Oh, my dear sir, what a thing the human heart is! Only to think now that from the first moment I saw you, that I should whisper to myself there, yes, there is the only human being for whose sake I could again enter into that holy state from which the unaliving of Mr. Williams released me.
Why, good God,
said the Admiral.
that woman's mad.
Oh, no, the world, the horrid, low, workaday world may make insidious remarks about us, but your pearl, your recompense, will recompense you for all that. And in the sweet concord of domestic life, we shall never sigh for more than we shall have, which will be, of course, if I understand it rightly, a large income. I don't know how much a year, and if I ask, it is only out of curiosity, my dear sir, and nothing else. Love, absolute and beautiful love, is all I ask.
Aww.
How much was it?
60 million by today's dollars, right?
Hello! Roared the Admiral. Charles! Henry! Jack! Where the devil are all of you? Darn it! You're ready enough when I don't want you, but now, when I'm going to be boarded by a madwoman, you can't. Come, one of you! Hello! Help! Jack, you lubber! Where the deuce have you taken yourself to, and why don't you tumble up there where you sent for?
Oh, my dear sir, why need you trouble yourself to call so many witnesses to our happiness? Let me be privately married. Let us be privately married in some rural little church.
Privately? Oh, darn, first I'll be unalived first, said the Admiral.
Oh, then it shall be a public alliance if you wish, exclaimed Mrs. Williams as she made up her mind to clench the affair at once by a coup de main, and advancing to the Admiral, she flung her arms around his neck just as the door at the other end of the apartment opened, and Charles, Henry, with Flora made their appearance, and looked with the most intense astonishment at the scene before them.
Well, Uncle, said Charles, I certainly should not have expected this of you. I am astonished.
Did you just go from Jack Pringle to Charles?
Perhaps.
Okay, because that was a very interesting combination.
Should I try that again?
Since I interrupted you, probably, but...
Well, Uncle,
said Charles,
I certainly should not have expected this of you. I am astonished, I must confess.
Better.
Much better.
Thank you, dear.
I love you.
No, Rye! Why, Admiral, I had no idea that you were so dangerous a personage. Coming from Henry, of course. Mrs. Williams, when she saw what arrivals had taken place, gave a faint scream and released the Admiral, and then she added, "Oh, Admiral, how could you hold me so when you hear somebody coming? How shall I ever survive such a scene as this? My character will be gone forever unless I am immediately married to you, and I have no doubt but that all your friends will at once see the propriety of such a step."
I do,
said Charles. "And I," said Henry. "And I, of course," said Flora. Mrs. Williams burst into tears when she saw this unanimity of opinion, but the Admiral's face got to the color of a piece of beetroot, and he was only silent for a moment or two when he was made the subject of these cruel remarks, until he could sufficiently recover to speak with the energy that did characterize him when he really began. We are not exactly in the vein to transfer to our pages the violent expletives with which he garnished his outburst of passion, and our readers, if they recall to their minds a large amount of nautical oaths, can have no difficulty in supposing that the Admiral uttered every one of them with a volubility that was perfectly alarming.
Darn it! Do you mean to unalive me, all of you? To drive me mad?
Five oaths, of course, and a string came in here.
Do you want to cut me up, do you?
And 3 more horrible epithets.
What do you mean by setting this old woman upon me? Whose precious idea was this, I should like to know, to put an elderly she-dragon upon me, whom I hate?
And 10 or more oaths here.
When I was enjoying a comfortable nap.
Hate? Exclaimed Mrs. Williams. Did you say hate, you old seductive villain? When you knew, you said that I was your pearl, you hoary-headed ruffian.
That's a thundering crammer,
cried the Admiral.
You said it yourself, and as for hating you, darn it if I don't do that with all my heart.
And this is the way that I'm to be treated before people? Oh, you wicked old sinner. I understand you now. Your intentions were not honorable, and you now find that my virtue is proof against your horrid old fascinations. You want to pretend that it's all a mistake.
Really,
said Charles.
We must confess, Uncle, that we found Mrs. Williams and you in a rather loving, you know, and the gentleman on these occasions is usually asked to account for such things, I take it.
Well, of course, said Mrs. Williams. "I'll bring an action against the Admiral, and I shall call upon you all to be witnesses for me. Oh, you old sinner, I will make you pay for this." "We certainly can all be witnesses,"
I'm going to interrupt for
said
you.
Flora.
Anytime you wonder about modern litigiousness and thinking about people are so ready to sue someone in an instant and bring actions against them for an instant, remember, this is almost 200 years ago, and this lady is orchestrating schemes in order to be able to file suit and capture some of the wealth of a successful man. Some people are just that way historically, at least as long as it's been an option. Anytime you create a system that can reward a person for an action, whether it's good or bad, will necessarily create the incentive of people to take those actions, and some people will. Did I just nerd out a little bit there?
Merry Christmas.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the touching the screen and all that. That helps us out a bunch. I'm going to quit interrupting now. Sorry.
You're okay. And I like your shirt. It's pretty.
Well, thank you. I got it from the TikTok showcase.
Yeah.
Yes.
You should probably have pinned it.
Too bad.
Oh well, I think we match pretty good.
I think we do match lovely today.
Now back to our story. After a drink, may I drink?
What do you say when you want something?
Please, sir, may I have a drink?
Yes, you may.
You put so little in these.
It's not the quantity, but the quality that matters.
Fortunately, I have extra. "We certainly can all be witnesses," said Flora, "that the Admiral called for help, and when we came we found Mrs. Williams holding him fast round the neck, to which he seemed to have the greatest possible repugnance."
That's right. Hurrah! That's the truth, Flora, my dear. That's just how it was. The horrid old woman come all of a sudden and laid hold of me after awakening me, and then I called for help. That's how it was.
"But these gentlemen," said Mrs. Williams, appealing to Henry and Charles, "they will all swear different."
Oh, I beg your pardon, Mrs. Williams, said Charles. If we are brought forward to swear anything, we must be correct, and therefore we shall have to say just what this lady has stated, and perhaps your best plan will be to go away and say no more about it, but consider that you have made a mistake.
"A mistake!" screamed Mrs. Williams. "How could I have made a mistake when Mr. John Pringle, who knows the Admiral so well, told me that he was just simply unaliving to see me, and that he was in love with me to never such an extent, only that he was afraid that I would not have anything to say to him on such a subject." The Admiral drew a long breath and sat down. Then, clenching his hand, he shook it above his head, saying in a voice of deep, concentrated anger,
I thought as much, darn it! If I did not, it's all that infernal scoundrel Drac Pringle's doing. I find it's one that lubbering, mutinous thief's tricks, and it's the last one that he shall ever play me.
"A trick!" screamed Mrs. Williams. "A trick! You don't mean that! How me compensation shall I get for this dreadful circumstance which has made me confess the secret of my heart? What shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? When shall I hope for consolation? What sum of money, even if you, my dear Admiral, were to offer it to me, would be sufficient balm now to my wounded heart?" "Madam," said Henry, "it seems that you have been imposed upon and made the victim of a practical joke, which we know the Admiral can have nothing to do with, and the only consolation that we can offer you to your wounded heart is that we will keep the secret of your attachment most inviolate." "What compensation is that to me? I'll bring my action for a breach of promise of marriage if I don't get something, and that's something very handsome too. It's all very fine to talk to me about your mistakes. I'll be paid, oh, and I'll be paid well too, or I'll make the whole country ring against it. Ring again with this matter."
Madam,
said Charles. Do I need to move to you?
You're fine. You can stay right where you are.
Why don't you talk and I'll take a breath?
Okay, if you need a breath, then that will make it simpler. It's magic time, boys and girls. Every 50,000 likes, we're going to do some magic. Yes, don't pull the whole microphone off the table, though. Okay, so I'm going to perform some magic for you. I can actually talk to you now, so I can use my words. This little toy I have here, I want you to try to figure out how it works. That makes this trick a lot more fun. Most of the time it's not fun to figure out how magic works. In this case, I want you to try to figure it out. So if you look here, you can see the hole that the string goes through, and you can see the hole that the string comes out of, and you can tell that the green and the yellow are connected, just like this. And the yellow and the purple are also connected, just like this. So you can see yellow and purple, the green and the yellow. So imagine how all of this works. Okay, now the purple one is also connected to the green one. So purple and green, and purple and yellow and green. Yellow and purple, purple and green. Now the green one is also connected to the red one. So red and green. See there? Just like that. Okay, and the red one is connected to the yellow one. Okay, red and yellow, red and green. Okay, and the red one is also connected to the purple one. And the yellow and the purple are still connected to the green and the yellow. Some of you are starting to figure this out. Some of you may not have figured it out yet. So I'm going to help you all just a little bit here. So yellow and red, red and green. Why don't we just take it apart so you can take a look at it and see how it works? Sound like a good plan? Let's try this. So you can see that they're not connected at all. The best live stream of all time. Wow, well thank you.
Thank you so much.
And you can always show your appreciation with tap tap taps, because every 50,000 I will do more magic for you.
Back to our story.
Madam, said Charles, I dare say that the Admiral don't care one straw whether the country rings again or not, and you can do just as you please. But since you have commenced threatening, you will, I hope, see the obvious propriety of at once leaving this place.
Well, I will leave this place, but it shall be to go directly to my solicitor to see what he will say to a lone woman being treated in this manner. I swear that he called me his pearl, and if that don't get me a verdict and most exemplary damages, I don't know what will. We shall see what we shall see, and in the meantime, you wretches, I leave you all to contempt. Yes, contempt.
Stop a bit, ma'am, said the Admiral. It is quite plain to me that you don't mind how you earn a trifle, so that you do get it. And now, I'll tell you that if you find out that rascal Jack Pringle, and give him a good trouncing for all his share in the business, you may come to me for a reward.
Mrs. Williams, whatever might have been her personal feelings on this head, did not design to make the least reply to this intimidation, but suddenly cried, I want to see my daughter. She is not here at present, said Flora, and if she were, she is now Mrs. Anderson, and therefore would of course decline accompanying you to your home, and she is only waiting some arrangements of her husband's prior, most probably, to going to London with him. This breach brought to the recollection of Mrs. Williams that the Admiral had promised her all the expenses that she had been at contingence upon with the broken-off marriage of her daughter, with the Baron, and she began to consider that her actions for breach of promise of the marriage... Oh, gosh, I read the same page. I do apologize. That her action for breach of promise of marriage against him might fail, and that, if it succeeded, it might not bring in half so much as the amount of the bill that she could by fair means get out of him. These considerations were of great pith and amount, and they had their full effect upon Mrs. Williams. So instead of bursting out with any further reproaches, she sat down and commenced a softening process by a copious flood of tears, which she always had at command.
Oh, said the Admiral, you may well cry over it, old girl. I suppose that you really thought that you had hooked the old man at last, eh? But never you do mind. You may make a good thing of it yet, and you get a hold of that scoundrel Pringle, and serve him out well, and I'll pay for that job more willingly than for anything else that I know of just at present.
Do not speak to me of that brute, my dear sir, sobbed Mrs. Williams. It's a very cruel thing, of course, to be used in this way. And, as it's a mistake on my part, I hope that you will excuse and look over what has happened. I am sure that I should be the last person in the world to trouble anybody with visits who did not want to see me. And so I dare say that we shall only meet once again in this world.
Once again, madam? What is the use of our ever meeting again?
It would look decidedly disrespectful on my part if I were not to hand you the bill myself for the little matters that you were kind enough to say that you would pay for on account of what I had expended on Helen's projected marriage with the vampire baron. As you know, Admiral.
Oh, I recollect now. Well, well, I don't want to go back from my word, and as I did promise you, why, I will pay you. But as I don't want, on any account, the pleasure of your company again, you will be so kind, ma'am, as to take this £20 note and keep the change.
This, the Admiral thought as liberal enough, for his idea of a matrimonial preparations consisted of a new dress or two, or so, and which £20 ought fairly enough to cover, and he thought that he would do well enough by overpaying Mrs. Williams as he believed with that amount. When Mrs. Williams recovered from her surprise, not unmingled with indignation into which this most audacious and to her extraordinary offer threw her, she spoke with a kind of scream that made the old Admiral jump again as she shouted in his ears. I think we can imagine, if you have ever lived with someone or known someone who speaks and screams. Yes, imagine that. And I will do my best to not hurt everyone's ears. I'm not going to do that.
Good.
You're fine.
Good. We've known a few of those people.
What? £20? Are you in your senses? £20! Why, my bill will be at least £500!
What?
Rounded the Admiral. Roared the Admiral.
Are you in your senses? Darn it, ma'am, you may swallow your bill, and you had better do so, for all the good it is likely to do you. For if I pay a farthing more, may I be hung up to my own yard arm. Why, you must think that a British admiral's another name for a fool.
Then I tell you what, said Mrs. Williams. I tell you what, you stupid, old, atrocious sinner. I tell you that I will bring my actions against you for a breach of promise of marriage, and I swear that before your gang of people here came in, who of course will swear black is white and white is crimson for you because I believe that you are the father of them all, that you first asked me to live with you, and when I refused, that you said that you would marry me by special license tomorrow.
Madam, said Charles, now that you think that's proper entirely to forget that you are a lady, allow me to beg of you to retire, because it is quite impossible after what has happened that I should hold any further conversation with you.
Yes, Mrs. Williams, said Henry, I hope that you will perceive the propriety of at once leaving. At this particular moment, a note was handed to Henry, who upon opening it, read out loud. The Baron Stolmeyer of Salzburg presents his compliments to Mr. Bannerworth and begs to state that Mrs. Williams had received from him the sum of £500 for expenses to be incurred on account of the wedding of her daughter, and that hereby fully empowers Mr. Bannerworth to demand of Mrs. Williams that sum, and to devote it to the service and use of Mr. James Anderson, of whose existence the Baron was not aware of when he made his proposal to Mrs. Williams for her daughter, whom she sold to him, the Baron, for that sum.
Hilloa!
Cried the Admiral.
What do you think of that, Mrs. Williams? I don't know what you will say to it, but I know very well that I should consider it a shot between wind and water.
I trust, said Henry, that you will now still further see the propriety of leaving here, and of letting this matter completely rest, because it strikes me that the more you investigate it, madam, the more it will turn out greatly to your disadvantage. I don't care a pin's head for any of you nor half a farthing, cried Mrs. Williams. The Baron gave me the money, and he has no power to get it back again, and as you know well enough, I'll bring my action, and my principal witness shall be Mr. Pringle, who came to my house, and who, if you put upon oath, will be obliged to swear.
Well, that's it. That's all along,
said Jack, popping his head in, just within the amazingly short distance that he opened the door, and then he disappeared before a word could be said to him. Mrs. Williams, who notwithstanding all her threats seemed to have lingering impressions that she was victimized in the transaction, had all the ire of her nature aroused at once by the sight of Jack, and she at once rushed after him, leaving the Admiral and the Bannerworths, not at all lamenting her loss. Now Jack had no idea that he would be followed by anybody but the Admiral, and to distance him he knew there was no occasion to run. So, when he had got down to the hall of the hotel, he subsided into a walk, until he heard a tremendous scuffling of feet behind him, and upon looking round he saw Mrs. Williams in full chase, and with an expression upon her countenance which plainly enough indicated that her intentions were not at all of a jocular character.
"Oh, the devil!"
said Jack.
"If here ain't Mother Williams coming full sail, and 14 knots an hour too, with a fair wind, I'll be bound. Oh, never mind, a stern chase is a long chase, so here it goes."
As Jack uttered these remarks, he dashed onwards at a tremendous speed, but the sight of him again had inflamed Mrs. Williams' wrath to madness, and she made the most incredible exertion to come up with him, so that it was really wonderful to see her. But Jack, being less encumbered by apparel than the lady, would have distanced her, but for an unlucky accident that gave her temporary mastery. The fates would have it that a baker with a tray upon his head containing sundry pies was coming up the street, and as people do sometimes when they are mutually anxious to pass each other without coming in contact, they dodged from side to side for a few seconds, and then of course ran against each other, if they really meant it, with such force that down came Jack, and baker and pies, in one grand smash.
And the person here says I'm English, and that's not a bad English accent. Well done.
Why, thank you. In another moment that emerged, Mrs. Williams reached the spot. To snatch up the only whole pie that there was left was to the lady a work of moment, and to reverse it upon Jack's face was the work of another moment, and then, in the vindictiveness of her rage, she stamped upon the bottom of the dish until his head was embedded in the damsons, and he was nearly smothered. We have a lovely picture of Mrs. Williams putting the pan on top of Jack's head. Try the Scottish accent. Hello. From the window of the inn, the Bannerworths and the Admiral saw all this take place, and the delight of the old man was the most extravagant character, exceeding all bounds, while the Bannerworths, for the life of them, could not help laughing most heartily. "Now, you wretch," said Mrs. Williams, "I hope that this will be a lesson to you. Take that, and that, and that, you sea-snake, you odious tar-barrel." As she spoke, she hammered on the dish till it broke, and that was for Jack the best thing that could have happened, for it gave him a little more air, and by frantic effort he scrambled to a sitting posture, and commenced dragging the damsons out of his eye and mouth. Mrs. Williams then thought that it was high time to leave, and so muttering threats to the immense amusement of the crowd of persons who had assembled, she walked away, leaving Jack by no means delighted with the end of the adventure, and to settle with the infuriated baker as best he might. It was no small additional mortification to Jack to look up and see the Admiral and the Bannerworths at the window of the hotel, enjoying his discomfiture and laughing most heartily at his expense.
that is the end of that chapter. So she's going to take a breather for just a moment and sip some water so that she can rest her voice. It does take a lot out of her having to change her voice all the time. And yes, if you've seen the messages, what are you looking for?
My pencil.
This pencil here?
Oh, there, good. I thought I'd lost
Literally right there in front of you.
It's all right.
My wonderful wifey. So she will rest her voice so that she can do all the lovely voices for you. I do read parts, but I read the parts for the vampire, which we had no lines in on that
Oh,
one.
of course, and you'll be reading
But
for a new character this next chapter.
It looks like I'll be reading for someone else coming up in the next chapter.
The Colonel,
The Colonel.
I think.
The Colonel Mustard?
No, it's not Colonel Mustard. Sorry.
Too bad. Every 100,000 tap or every 50,000 taps, I will perform an illusion for you. So if you enjoy magic, make sure to tap, tap, tap. That helps us out a lot. And if you're feeling the generosity and want to help us out, that's always appreciated because
Very
it
much
helps us.
appreciated.
It helps us to get more views on our videos. And lately, the TikTok algorithm has not been paying us very much for our video views, despite our videos doing very well. The amount of rewards we've been getting are significantly smaller than what they used to, which is very. I'm not sure exactly what's happened. It's been over about the last 10 to 12 days. So the first 6 days of this month, for example, and you know we've done creator rewards now for a little over a year. We made over $2,000 the first 6 days, and since then we've made $100. It's absurd. It's very strange. So I don't know exactly what's been going on. If it's related to the sale of TikTok that's happening next month in order to accommodate the bill that passed or something like that. But something's, yeah, it's hurting a lot of creators, other creators that I know as well. And I don't know why, but thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. I'm hoping it's just temporary, but it's a thing that we will have to figure out. We do not do a second account. This is our account.
I have an account.
Yeah.
So I have my account and he has his account.
And this is her account.
Get up real close to this. Someone asked to see the necklace.
Did I get her something for Christmas? Well, if I did, I'm
A
not gonna.
trip to Turkey.
I'm not gonna say it in front of you guys.
I got to see the inside the Hagia Sophia. Inside this has been on my bucket list for a long time, but inside the Hagia Sophia there was graffiti from a Viking. So if you could imagine Vikings going all the way down to Istanbul, and they've got it protected and everything inside the Hagia Sophia, but I got to see the graffiti from the Viking inside the Hagia Sophia.
Yeah, I guess so. I have 150,000 more followers since I made a video about running for mayor the first time. So a lot of you probably didn't see the first video about running for mayor, but yes, I intend to run for the mayor of Fort Smith position, which will be coming available next year. So we're putting everything in place. The reason why I'm running for mayor is my city has two major problems. One, we haven't had a mayoral form of government yet. We have a mayor, but the mayor doesn't do anything. He just presides over the city council. He doesn't even have a vote on the city council. He has no hire fire authority. All of that is handled by an administrator, which is how small cities often run. Our city is the biggest city in the United States that isn't ran by a mayor. So I want to push my city to change so that a mayor actually runs things, because the second problem we have is the people that get appointed into positions by an administrator don't get fired easily, and they become bureaucratic, power-hungry interference people that just kind of interfere with everything that's happening. And our building inspections department is a perfect example of that. They started harassing me last summer, saying they're going to teach me a lesson. And they watch my TikTok videos, literally will show up at any house. If I show the outside of the house, they will show up the next day with a stop work notice, even if it's stuff that doesn't need a permit, like changing a ceiling fan without a permit. I got a stop work notice for that in July of this past year. For repairing some termite damaged floorboard, I got a stop work notice on it the next day. And their words were, they're going to teach me to respect their authority and this and that. And what they're wanting is some money on the side, and I'm not paying their bribes. I don't mind getting a permit for something I need a permit for, but they're absolutely absurd. And so I talked to our city administrator about it. I talked to my city directors about it. None of them did anything about it. So I said, okay, well, if y'all won't do it, I will. So now I'm running for mayor. It is harassment, and nobody needs a permit to change a ceiling fan anywhere in the world. If you saw my videos in July, or I think it was July about that, I literally called Seattle, I called other cities nearby of all different kinds, and asked them on the video, like, hey, do I need a permit?
Seattle's not nearby.
But Fayetteville, Van Buren,
Mhm.
cities that were nearby as well as Seattle. And all of them said, no, you don't need a permit for that. Then I called local electricians and said, hey, I want you to change this ceiling fan. And they were all like, well, it'll cost you $150 or whatever. And I said, well, I want you to get a permit on it. And they're like, why? And I was like, well, my city says I need a permit for this. No, you don't. Well, I want you to get a permit. Well, I'm not going to do the ceiling fan if you need a permit. Like, I'm not going to, because nobody's ever heard of that before. It was absolutely absurd. Yes. Exactly. So, yeah. Anyway, there's numerous harassment videos. If you saw my Halloween prank on the city inspector that's close to the beginning of October, some of those things we've done. We've been going round and round, and I've decided I'm just going to fix the problem myself.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Do you think my personal experiences will help or benefit? I think it'll benefit, absolutely. And to be clear, I've been involved in business in this community for years. I built Chamber of Commerce websites for our Chamber of Commerce. I was a part of our Young Emerging Leaders group. I graduated Leadership Crawford County. My wife also graduated Leadership Crawford County. I built the biggest news website in Arkansas. We built years and years ago. I've been a part of a lot of different things in this community for a long time. So I'm not just this guy on TikTok. I've really been a part of this community, and I think that I could do a good job, or I wouldn't be trying to do that.
Well, you even owned 5% of
Well,
City Wire,
which became Talk Business, which is Arkansas's big news website. So. Thank you. I think it's time we start the next chapter. Yes, that is me.
The recent events, which followed each other so rapidly, were strangely concluded by the sudden and mysterious disappearance of Sir Francis Varney. That he should thus have eluded all was aggravating to a very large class of people who seemed to insist that he should have come to some notable catastrophe. Had he only been unalived, they argued, that we should have known the last of him. Of the truth of this there could be no doubt. When a man is unalived and buried, you do, as far as human nature serves, know the end of him. But this great fact does not always come within the knowledge of men, who sometimes, contrary to the expectation, drop off themselves, and instead of knowing the end of somebody else, why, somebody else knows the end of them. It is a well-known fact that, as some unalive before others, that it does sometimes happen that those who wish to see another out may be seen out themselves. Besides, taking the question of longevity aside, it does not follow, because we so wish to come to this conclusion of an affair, that its author may but change the scene and transport it elsewhere, and the good and curious lieges become defrauded of their self-satisfying knowledge, viz., the end of the affair. Of course, it was an aggravation to know that there was an interesting and highly exciting affair gone off, and they were not allowed to peep into that mystery, the future. Just sometimes how the older way of writing.
That is a very strange meter to the last couple of paragraphs.
Yes. They were not allowed to peep into that mystery, the future, but so it was. They were not gratified. Some were of the opinion that he had departed this life in a mysterious and unsatisfactory, because secret, manner, and that was why nobody could tell anything about it. But there were other opinions afloat, and among others, of the Admiral, which was pretty general, which was, that he had very likely disappeared from that part of the world, to seek in some other place the renovation of his system that his system required, by means that were natural to him, but hideous in others to contemplate or to think of.
See, you're trying to change it just to make it readable for aloud. This is a very strangely written section compared to what you were just reading.
This was generally the received opinion, for it was universally admitted by the wise people thereabouts that he must at certain times recruit himself. The opinions, thus entertained by all who lived thereabouts, became less and less absorbing. Other matters began to be thought of. Things began to flow into their usual channel, and a subsidence took place in the turmoil and excitement consequent upon the presence of a vampire. About this period, while these parts were regaining their original serenity and calmness, and while the vampire was looked upon as an awful and fearful episode in that life of those who lived there, there happened in London a circumstance that is necessary to relate to the reader, inasmuch as it is very important and bears strongly on our story. I think it was just like a lot of fluff words going on there for a bit. And we've come with that time to time in this story where it seems like they're just trying to, as a child would in school, fluff their writing in order to meet with the amount of words they were supposed to have.
We'll just throw in anti-disestablishmentarianism right here. This is also written by several different authors. There's not a specific single author for this. It was a series of Penny Dreadfuls. Hey, Joe, welcome in, and Merry Christmas, dude. Welcome in.
Merry Christmas. Not far from Bloomsbury Square, which at this period of our story was a very fashionable place, and in one of the first streets thereabout, was the house of a widow, whose name was Meredith. She had been the wife of a man in good circumstances, but at his unaliving she was left with a house filled with furniture, some little loose cash, and several daughters, marriageable and unmarriageable. This being all Mr. Meredith had to leave. There could be but one way of obtaining a living, at least, but one that suggested itself to her, which was to turn lodging-house-keeper of the better sort. Her children had been well educated, that is, sufficiently so to pass off in life, in decent society, without any particular remark. As she was well calculated for the object that she had in view, was no wonder that she succeeded in her undertaking, and appeared to do very well. About this time, an arrival occurred at a hotel not far from this spot, which caused a communication to pass to Mrs. Meredith, who had been recommended lodgers from the hotel when any of the inmates desired to be accommodated and wished for a place with all the comforts of a home and domestic attention.
Mrs. Meredith, said the head waiter of the hotel, I wish to have a word in private with you.
With greatest pleasure, Mr. Jones, said Mrs. Meredith, who was extremely civil to the waiter. Will you be pleased to sit down?
I have not the time, I thank you. I have not the time, but I'll run over to you to inform you that we have an old invalid colonel at our place, who seems as if he did not know what he wanted. He wants some kind of lodging. He don't like the hotel, whether it is some general family, whose kind attentions would soothe his disorders, and I suppose his temper.
Oh, the poor gentleman, said Mrs. Meredith. How unfortunate that he should suffer. Is he rich?
Why, yes, I believe so. Very rich. He's a colonel, and in the India service. He's been a fine man, but he had had some hard knocks. I have seen more rickety matters than he before today, and he will do very well, I told him. I knew where there was a lady who occasionally admitted an inmate to her house, which was a large one, but she must be satisfied that her lodger is a gentleman. Has she any family? He inquested, because I hate to go where there's nobody but the lady of the house, because she can't always attend upon me, read to me, and the like of that.
Oh, goodness me, what an odd man.
Yes, but he pays well, a retired colonel, large fortune. You know that these East Indians expect I don't know what. They are even fed by beautiful young virgins.
Oh, the wretch!
Dear, no, dear. It is the custom of the country. So you see, he's been humoured, and it will be necessary yet to humour him, if you mean to have him for your lodger. I expect that he'll only be troublesome, but when they pay for trouble, why, it's all profit.
Oh, very true, replied Mrs. Meredith. Is he a single man?
Yes, oh yes. I believe that he has never been married, and has so much to do in India that he has nothing to do with marriages.
And where does he come from?
India. I believe he had a very fine place of his own at Putty Therapore. So I'm told. Lord, he does seem to think nothing of these parts, but he's an odd man, however, and he pays well. He'll make a good lodger anywhere.
Well, you may tell him, Mr. Jones, that we have a fine suite of rooms for his accommodation on the first floor, and bedrooms. Every attention he can wish. You know our terms, Mr. Jones, I think, but I may as well tell you, 5 guineas a week.
5 guineas a week, eh?
Yes, that is moderate when you come to consider what a trouble and an expense that it will be to get such things as will please the palate of an Indian.
Curry.
It is trouble, certainly.
And besides that, he will have such a place and furniture as he seldom meets with London besides. From what you say, there will be little trouble in attending to him by myself and daughters, and you know that I have several.
Exactly. That is the thing he seems to desire. You will, therefore, have a preference over anyone else who may have anything that he wants. A kind of domestic hearth, that he has none of his own, you see.
He has no friends?
None living, I dare say. Besides, he would hardly like to trust himself with relations who would poison him for the sake of his money. And if he had any living, he may know nothing of them, where they are, or anything else. And they would be strangers to him, for he would not be able to recognize them. But I must go now. 5 guineas. That includes all?
Yes, all except wines and liquors, you know.
Very well. I will let him know, and perhaps you will be in the way, in case he should come round this evening to examine the place.
Do you think that there are any chances of him coming tonight?
Really, I cannot tell. He may or may not, just as he pleases. He is an odd fish, but a good... Mrs. Meredith, I will talk to him.
The waiter left, and Mrs. Meredith sat in her parlor, which was her own private apartment, which she and her daughters usually retired to, and received their own friends. Here they remained, in some degree kept in continual expectation. Nothing was said for some time by either mother or daughter, for there was but one at home at that time. Do you know, Marguerite, that we are likely to have a new lodger? Said Mrs. I lost her name already. What is her name? Meredith. So her daughter's name is Marguerite Meredith.
Oh.
She could go by M&M.
I guess that she could.
Do you know, Margaret, that we are likely to have a new lodger? Indeed, Ma. Yes, dear. He is a fidgety old man, a colonel from India. He is vastly rich, and I am given to understand, and will require all the attentions of a relative. He will pay very handsomely, in fact, my dear, and he will keep us all with a little care and management. Well, Ma, men ought to do so, the creatures. What are they for if they don't? I'm sure, if ever I come to marry, which I am sure that I shan't, and I found that he didn't find me in all I wanted, wouldn't I lead a life? I'd rather think that I would, said the amiable child. I'd never let him know peace, night or day. It would be useless for him to tell me misfortune had deprived him of means, or what it would do for me. Oh dear no! A married man has no right to meet misfortune. Indeed, he deserves to be punished for having a wife all under such circumstances. A very proper spirit, my dear. But you must never let such a thing as that pass your lips, because it would be very likely to cause you to lose a chance. The men are so fastidious nowadays, they think that they win us when we angle for and catch them. And this lodger, Ma? Oh, he is, as I told you, a rich old East Indian. At this moment a coach drove up to the door, and a tremendous double rap was played off upon the door, as if it had been committed by a steam engine. Loud and so long was the application for the admittance, that both mother and daughter stared. "Oh dear me, that must be him," said the mother. "Yes, coach and all. There's dear, oh well, I declare." "What, Ma?" "Why, look at that girl next door out on the balcony. There's Miss Smith. That girl is always trying to attract some person or other, and the men affect to believe that she is beautiful. For my part, I think a girl of 17 ought to have more modesty." "Oh, the hussy!" said the young lady contemptuously. The servant now entered to inform her that a gentleman had called about the apartments. "Ask him up the stairs, Mrs. Meredith," said Mrs. Meredith, and she prepared to follow the colonel. So soon as she heard he was ascending the stairs, which was a slow job to him, as he walked lame, with a gold-headed cane. When Mrs. Meredith came to the room, she saw a tall gentleman. His height was lost on account of him stooping. He wore a green shade over one eye, and he had one arm in a sling, besides which, as we have before related, he was rather lame. "Not so bad as I thought for," muttered Mrs. Meredith to herself, as she curtsied to his salute.
"I have been recommended to seek here a lodging, ma'am. I do not know if I am correct in believing you have such as what I want."
"Why, this, sir, is the sitting room. It is a very handsome one, and above that, what is usually offered for a lodging house. The fact is, sir, the house was never furnished for letting, but for our own private occupation. Therefore, it has all of the comforts of a private residence."
"That is what I chiefly want. You see, I do not care to undertake the trouble of setting up an establishment myself. I am alone. I may say, therefore, it is I seek such a lodging as comes nearest to what I should myself choose, if I were to make a home of my own."
"Well, precisely, sir. There is the back drawing-room, and a bedroom upstairs."
"Oh, very good. I need, I presume, make no inquiry as to what kind of table you keep. The best, I dare say. I was informed of the price you asked."
"Why, yes, we consider that quite moderate, sir,"
"I dare say.
said the Indian, looking about the place with an air of curiosity.
I dare say."
"Yes, sir. You see the advantages we offer are much above the usual run. Besides, you're an invalid and will require extra attention."
"Yes, there is much truth in that. I have gotten used to it, and therefore you will see that I bargain for it. But at the same time, you will not find me difficult to please. I flatter myself, but we shall know more of each other the longer that we are together."
"Certainly, sir. I can assure you that should you take the apartments, nothing on my part or my daughter's will be wanting to make your stay agreeable." The stranger examined the appearance of the room and the others, and then after much conversation with them, he agreed to take the lodgings, and to come into them on the morrow, as he was extremely particular to well-aired beds, and should require them all to be re-aired.
"And now, madam, before I finally agree to come in, will you show me the means of escape, if, in case of a fire, I'm anxious and fear of that. I have read so many calamities arising from that cause of late in London, that I am somewhat nervous about it, though I am so much of an invalid that I should hardly be able to avail myself of it.
Well, you shall see, sir. We have ample and safe accommodation in that respect. You see, here is a pair of broad steps that lead up to that door, a trap door, and here is another that opens upon the leads at the top of the house. The colonel made a shift to walk up and look over the housetops. There was a sea of chimneys and pantiles. At the same time, they were all easy access on this side of the street, so there was no danger from fire, and each house there was similarly provided.
Well, madam, I think I may say that this affair is concluded. I will leave you my card, and if you think proper, you can obtain whatever information you desire of me at the hotel.
I am quite satisfied, sir, said the landlady, as she took the card that was proffered her, and also a banknote which he offered her in token of his taking possession of the lodgings. Mrs. Meredith curtsied, and the colonel left the apartment and descended the staircase with great deliberation, for he could not go very swiftly. He was lame, and one arm was in a sling, and therefore he had not free use of his limbs. As he came down the stairs, and when near the mat, Marguerite, the eldest daughter, came out and passed into the back parlor for no other ostensible purpose than that of seeing the stranger, whose eye was instantly but only momentarily fixed upon her. But it was enough, and they both saw each other, and had a glance at the features, and Marguerite disappeared. The stranger stepped into the coach, and as the door was being shut he looked up to the window of the next house, where the young lady, nothing daunted, still sat at the window, and so little was she interested with her neighbor's affairs that she barely bestowed a momentary glance upon the coach or its occupant, whose solitary optic took note of her, and then the Jehu drove away with his rumbling vehicle. Well, I never saw such impudence in my life, said Mrs. Meredith, as she came to the parlor windows, which happened to bow outwards, and give her a better opportunity of watching her neighbors to the right and to the left of her. "What's the matter, Ma?" inquired her daughter. "Why, there's that minx still up yonder. I declare she didn't stare at the colonel, but he saw her, and noticed her too. Well, I wouldn't have had her there today for a trifle. He will think that he has got into a bad neighborhood, seeing her so bold. Oh, really now, she lays herself open to all kinds of impugnations. I do not mean to say any evil of her, but really, if she will do that now, then what will she not do in the by and by? I'm sorry that she has no one to advise her better." She's implying that because the girl is up in the window so often, and people can see her, that the gentleman may think that it is the sort of neighborhood that would be in the red light district.
Where women would advertise their
Yes.
property that they have for sale.
"I'm sure that she is old enough to know better," rejoined the daughter. "I'm quite sure that she's no beauty, and that if she wants to catch any of the men, she won't be successful in that manner unless indeed she doesn't care whom she picks up with." "Oh," said the mother, "that is, I fear, too often the case with young girls with weak intellects. But did you see our new lodger, my dear?" "Yes, Ma." "And what did you think of him?" inquired Miss Meredith, with an amiable whine and a gentle rubbing of hands. "Think, Ma? Think? What can I think of a man whom I have hardly seen, Ma? He only passed me, and I could not recollect him again if I tried." "Ah, well, my dear, you know best. I can always recollect people whom I have once seen. He is a very fine man, at least, he has been. He has lost much of his height, for he is lame and stoops much, but still he has been a handsome man. One eye only, Ma, I think? Yes, my dear, one eye, as you say, but I think a remarkably keen one, too. He's quite the gentleman, too. He's been used to command, you can see that. These military men have an air about them that you cannot mistake, and even this gentleman, though, you see, wounded and lame, yet he has the air of an officer about him. Well, he may have, Ma, but you know, if he had the air of a general, with nothing else, it would buy a very poor dinner. Well, so it would, my dear. You certainly are an extraordinary girl, Marguerite, a very extraordinary girl, and will be the making of your family. Only suppose that you should marry this rich colonel. What then, eh? Only say, suppose you were to marry him, because it isn't certain yet. Well, wouldn't that minx next door just think you were lucky? She would bite her nails in anger. Why, yes, she would, Ma, but it may never happen. But if she thinks to get a beau that way, well, she's much mistaken. I'm sure that she will get insulted. No wonder. But Marguerite, my dear, you must do your best to please this gentleman. He wants to have people about him just as if he had his own home. He has no friends or relatives. Who knows what may happen yet? Oh, no, Ma, we don't know what may happen, and I will do my best to please him. But I shan't court him, you know. You know that, Ma, he has to do that. Why, yes, certainly, my child, he must. No, you mustn't appear anxious about it, but merely say that you are pleased to have his good opinion, and you must be a little coy of everything else, for there are times when such old gentlemen are easily entrapped. But I must set about having things aired and put in order for his arrival tomorrow.
Did you see the release of the Epstein files today, by the way? Anyway, speaking
What?
of old gentlemen being easily entrapped by young ladies, it just seems appropriate to talk about that now suddenly for some reason. Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello.
That's the end of that chapter. And yes, unfortunately, that's not the end of the chapter of releasing things that make us feel very strange about our politicians, right?
Oh, my goodness.
On all sides of all politicians. Yep. Thank you so much for reading for us. So lovely, dear. I think we're going to call it quits pretty soon. So we got to the end of this chapter.
Oh, it's
after 8
10,
already.
yes.
So I think we're going to be calling this quits. Thank you all for joining us. We'll have a lot more for the Colonel next time. So I'll get plenty of lines, it seems, coming up.
We can talk for a bit, though.
Yeah, we can chit-chat for a minute. You guys are amazing, and it's been an amazing year. This time last year, I did not have 100,000 followers on TikTok. I did not have 100,000, and we're getting close to 500,000 followers now. I'm really humbled, guys, and it's wild. I don't know how to say thank you enough. Thank you so much. I did a magic trick for the 100K, didn't I? No, maybe I didn't.
Go ahead and do another one. Why not?
Yeah, we'll do another one. Hey, we got some cards here.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas, yeah. So I've got some cards here. And what I'm going to do is take a card from this deck, flip it over backwards, and put it back in. Very simple, right? Except I'm going to do it using my tongue, and you get to pick the cards. So somebody tell me a card.
I've never been to a Mormon church. Looking for a card. The Ace of Spades is boring. We'll do the Seven of Clubs.
What?
We're doing the Seven of Clubs tonight. All of your presents are open already? Well, I hope you had a wonderful evening.
Oh. Let's see if we can find that Seven of Clubs.
Do.
You see it in there? See this one?
Do 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 do.
If I just picked your card, I hope you have the best Christmas ever.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much, everyone.
The Ace of Spades it's
The Ace of Spades is boring. It's magicians hate it when you pick the
everybody
Ace of
picks
Spades.
that card.
It's picked like 60% of the time when you ask a random group of kids. And so anytime we do a trick like this, it makes the trick less impressive because it feels like he just turned the Ace of Spades backwards, because every time I ask for a card, I could pick an Ace of Spades. Every single time somebody's going to name the Ace of Spades. And so I could just have the Ace of Spades turned backwards, and that makes it way less magical. So magicians hate it when you pick the Ace of Spades. Don't do that one. Also the Queen of Hearts. That's the other one they don't like it.
He left it downstairs.
What's that?
The brand new deck.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's downstairs.
Yes, and I appreciate you giving me a new deck, but this one's up here right now. I had the other one downstairs. Yep.
We'll have to bring it up here.
We picked the Queen of Hearts for Jen. Yeah, and I'll do the Queen of Hearts occasionally, but those two are just way, way too common. So magicians really appreciate it when you pick random off the wall cards. We're at 20 properties.
Well, I apologize.
It's not that it's a boring card. It's that it's a card that makes the trick less impressive.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad you found it impressive. It's a difficult skill to do. Those cards aren't bicycle cards, which I like. Bicycles slide much easier. That deck is a little bit stickier too, so it's a little harder. When you're having to sort them out with your tongue, that smooth movement makes it a lot simpler.
All right, my friends. I guess that we are going to have some Christmas Eve time.
Yep.
And may you all have sweet and wonderful dreams.
I love you guys. Good night. Bye.
Good night.